My child, you have been feeling something shifting in your spirit, something you couldn't quite explain, something that made you pause even when everything on the surface looked normal. This feeling wasn't fear, and it wasn't imagination, it was discernment. It was God whispering to you through the quiet moments, through the tension in your chest, through the sudden doubt that rises even when nothing obvious is happening. Because God sees what you do not see, hears what you do not hear, and knows what was said behind your back long before it ever reaches your ears. He isn't who you think He is. God is sending you a warning before the truth becomes too painful to ignore. There are people who study you before they show you who they are. People who mirror your love so they can gain your trust. People who present stability but carry hidden storms. People who act like protectors only to become the very source of your hurt. This person has been shaping an image of themselves that isn't rooted in truth, but in presentation. They have been managing their behavior around you the way someone manages a spotlight, carefully, intentionally, and selectively. They reveal only what makes them look good, what keeps you invested, what keeps you believing in their potential rather than their reality. But God is about to reveal the reality. There were moments when something in your heart felt unsettled, even when your mind kept trying to justify them. Moments when their words sounded right, but their energy felt wrong. Moments when their explanations answered your questions, but not your spirit. Moments when you caught glimpses of another version of them, one they quickly covered with charm or softness. Those moments weren't random. Those were warnings. Spiritual alarms. Red flags wrapped in emotional confusion. And God is saying, pay attention. I am showing you something. He has been giving you signs for far longer than you realize. The sudden silence in your connection. The shift in how they prioritize you. The defensiveness when honesty is needed. The way they avoid direct conversations. The way they over-explain small things but under-explain major things. The inconsistencies that show up in patterns, not accidents. The emotional distance they think you're too blind to notice. You didn't imagine any of it. Your spirit recognized what your heart didn't want to accept. This person's intentions are not as pure as the image they show you. Their loyalty is not as stable as the reassurance they give you. Their heart is not as committed as the words they repeat when they feel you slipping away. God has been watching the difference between who they are in private and who they pretend to be with you. And God is stepping in now because this discrepancy is growing too wide. You have been praying for clarity, asking God to show you the truth. To reveal what your eyes cannot see. You asked for a sign, not knowing your uneasiness already was a sign. You asked for truth, not knowing God was preparing to open a door that cannot be closed once it is opened. Truth is coming, not soft, not diluted, not sugar-coated, but clear. And when it arrives, the person you thought you knew will no longer exist in your mind the same way. He isn't who you think he is, not because you were foolish, but because he was calculated. He allowed you to believe in a version of him that made him look loyal, stable, intentional, and emotionally invested. But behind that version was someone struggling with divided loyalty, unresolved wounds, hidden motives, or simply a lack of spiritual maturity. Someone who wants the benefits of your presence without offering the sincerity your heart deserves. Someone who loves being admired by you more than being honest with you. You have sensed this double-layered identity. You've caught glimpses of it when their masks slipped for just a moment. You've noticed the difference between their affection and their actions. You have felt the emotional disconnect they try to hide with physical closeness or sweet words. God is revealing these things not to shame them, but to protect you. Because your heart is too pure, too faithful, too spiritually sensitive to be tied to someone who cannot stand in truth. God knows the weight you carry, the way you love, the way you hope, the way you pour into someone with your whole heart once you choose them. God will not allow your loyalty to be wasted on someone who only knows how to pretend. He will not allow your destiny to be delayed by someone who isn't built to walk with you into your next season. He will not allow your purpose to be entangled with someone who hides important parts of who they are. That is why the warning is coming now, because you are approaching a new chapter, and not everyone can follow you into it. This person has been comfortable as long as you accept their surface-level sincerity. They assume that as long as they say the right things, you won't notice what they're protecting behind their emotional walls. What they forget is that you have something they do not: God's covering, God's voice, God's direction. And when someone's intentions conflict with your future, God does not stay silent. You may think you're losing someone you needed, but what you're actually losing is someone who has been blocking your blessings. You may think you're letting go of a connection, but you're actually letting go of confusion. You may think you're stepping into uncertainty, but you're actually stepping into clarity. God removes people quietly at first, then loudly if necessary. And the louder part is coming. You are not being punished, you're being protected. God is removing the illusion so the truth can breathe. He is removing the mask so the real story can be seen. He is removing your attachment so your spirit can rise. And soon, the very things that confused you will make perfect sense. There is something sacred about the moment when God finally reveals the truth you were not ready to see before. It is not a dramatic moment. It is not loud. It is not chaotic. It is quiet, eerily quiet. It settles into your chest like a soft but undeniable realization. It feels like a whisper that suddenly becomes a truth you cannot escape. And that is exactly what is beginning to happen in your spirit right now. The light is turning on. The fog is lifting. The illusion is breaking. And God is saying, look again. You will begin to notice things you overlooked before. Their patterns. Their inconsistencies. Their disappearing acts. Their emotional unpredictability. Their excuses that never match their actions. Their sudden charm when they feel you drifting. Their coldness when they feel secure. Their avoidance when honesty is required. All of these things will start to stand out sharply, like God is highlighting them in bold so you can finally see what was always there. God does not reveal something to you unless He intends to do something about it. The warning you're receiving is not just about this person, it is about the impact they have on your destiny. You are entering a season where God needs you emotionally free, spiritually grounded, and mentally protected. You cannot walk into your next blessing carrying someone who hides the truth. You cannot birth your next level while being emotionally drained by someone who pretends to care but cannot commit with integrity. You cannot step into alignment while staying tied to someone out of habit or hope. God is trying to save you from a future heartbreak that would have been far more painful than the disappointment you feel now. He has seen conversations you weren't part of. He has heard their real thoughts, the ones they never voiced. He has witnessed their private actions that do not align with the loyalty they claim. And He has determined that this situation cannot continue, not if you are to step into what He has planned for you. What you feel right now is spiritual tension. The pulling away. The emotional distance. The confusion that no longer feels like a minor issue but a divine signal. God is showing you that something is off, not because He wants you to panic, but because He wants you to prepare. The truth is approaching. The mask is cracking. And when everything comes out, you will say, God, thank you for warning me. This person is not who you think they are, and deep down, you have always known it. You didn't want to admit it because your heart believed in who they could be. You saw potential instead of reality. You saw the version of them that showed up when they wanted something from you, not the version that appeared when you needed something from them. You saw their kindness but ignored their inconsistency. You saw their affection but ignored the emptiness in their commitment. You saw the moments they tried, not the moments they didn't care to try. God is now bringing balance to your perspective. Where emotion blinded you, truth will restore you. Where hope kept you attached, discernment will begin to detach you. Where fear kept you holding on, peace will help you let go. What once pulled you in will begin to repel you. What once made you feel safe will now feel unstable. What once looked promising will now look dangerous. This is not emotional confusion, it is spiritual clarity. The more God reveals, the less power their illusions will have over you. Your heart will begin to detach even before your mind catches up. That emotional numbness you feel, that shift in energy, that sudden clarity, that is God removing the spiritual tie between you and someone who cannot walk with you into the next phase of your life. Don't resist it. Don't fight it. Don't question it. When God lifts the attachment, it means the assignment is complete. He is preparing you for truth, and truth always arrives before elevation. And yet, in the quietest parts of you, there is still a spark fighting to stay alive. My hands trembled. It was too honest, too raw. I tried to look away, but his gaze held mine with gentleness that felt like mercy. "You don't understand," I whispered. "I've tried. I've tried so hard." "I know," he said, and for the first time, the light around him dimmed with empathy so profound it pressed tears from my eyes. "We have seen every moment you pushed forward when no one noticed. Every hope you nurtured even when it seemed foolish. Every time you comforted others while your own heart was cracking. We have seen you choose kindness when you were exhausted, choose trust when you were afraid. Choose love when you felt unlovable. Do not think the heavens are blind to these things." He raised a hand, and the light within it swirled like galaxies being born. "It is because of your quiet bravery that you are being spoken to now. Why tell me this like a message that's going to vanish? Why the urgency?" "Because the moment is close," he answered. "You are nearing a point where the weight inside you could tip in either direction. And if you turn away from yourself now, it will take years to find the path again. But if you choose yourself, choose to remain, choose to believe your life is not an accident." "Everything changes," I inhaled shakily. "What changes?" His wings unfurled. "Vast and shimmering, you will become who you were meant to be." The words echoed inside me, stirring something buried. "But I'm scared," I admitted. "Then be scared," he said. "Fear does not diminish courage, it gives courage shape. Angels are not sent to the fearless. We are sent to those who tremble but move anyway." He stepped even closer, and for a moment the world fell away. There was no room, no device, no time. Only the warmth of his presence and the hum of the divine. "You are not alone," he whispered. "You have never been alone." Even in the moments where silence felt like abandonment. Even when you begged for a sign and heard nothing. Even when the night swallowed your voice. Silence is not the absence of us, it is the space where your own strength grows. A tear slipped down my cheek. "I don't feel strong." "Strength is not a feeling," he answered. "It is a choice. What if I fail?" "Then you will try again," he said simply. "And we will remain with you." His words wrapped around me like a balm. My breathing steadied. "What do you want me to do tonight?" I asked. He tilted his head, eyes gleaming like starlight. "Tonight, I want you to choose one thing you will not abandon. One dream, one hope, one part of yourself you have been pushing away. Protect it. Even if it is small. Especially if it is small. The greatest destinies begin with fragile beginnings." The air around him warmed, and I felt a gentle pressure against my heart, as though someone touched it from the inside. "Do you know why you were told you would cry?" he asked softly. I shook my head. "Because truth breaks the chains we've worn for so long we mistake them for our own limbs." My eyes burned. "Will I remember this?" "Yes," he said. but not as a dream. As a turning point, the edges of his form began to dissolve into the light. I reached out instinctively. Wait, don't go. I still have questions. He smiled, and the smile held infinite patience. Then ask them tomorrow. Seek, and you will hear me. Not always in words. Sometimes in signs. Sometimes in quiet knowing. Sometimes in the way your heart tugs you toward something. I am not vanishing. Only the message is. You opened it in time, that is enough, but why me? I whispered again, voice cracking with vulnerability, because even though you doubt it, you are someone who can change the world, one soul at a time. And the world needs you to stay. His wings folded inward as his form faded into brilliance. Before 9 p.m., make your choice. Choose to continue. Choose to stay. Choose to believe you were created with purpose. The light flared once more, then dimmed, collapsing inward until the screen returned to its normal glow. The message vanished. The timer hit 0, the room felt strangely still. Yet full, as though the air held the echo of a sacred breath. I sat in silence, tears slipping down my face, not from fear but from the weight of everything he had said, everything he had seen in me that I had never admitted to anyone, not even myself. I looked at the clock, 8:59 p.m. I placed my hand over my heart, and I chose to stay. The second the clock flicked from 8:59 to 9 p.m., something shifted. Not in the room, not in the air, but inside me. It wasn't dramatic. There was no thunder, no radiant glow, no divine voice echoing through the walls. It was quieter than all of that, as simple and fragile as the breath held between two words. A steadiness. A presence. A knowing. I stood slowly, legs unsteady beneath me, as though learning how to inhabit them again. The lamp on my desk flickered, just once, soft enough to dismiss as coincidence, but the timing made my breath hitch. I waited for something, another message, a sign, a whisper, but nothing came. The world was still, and yet. Not the same. I walked to the window, drawn by an impulse I didn't recognize. The night outside was calmer than usual. Streetlights hummed, cars moved in the distance, but the atmosphere had a softness to it, as if the world itself had exhaled. I pressed my palm to the glass and felt the faint chill seep into my skin. You said you wouldn't vanish, I murmured into the empty room. Though silence answered, it didn't feel like silence. It felt like listening. I didn't know what to do with myself. There was no manual for what to do after an archangel tells you that your life matters, tells you you're standing at a threshold, tells you you've been seen more deeply than you ever dared to hope. The rational part of my mind tried to piece together explanations: dream, hallucination, stress-induced vision, elaborate trick, but none of them held. Not after the way his words had pierced through places I never let anyone touch. I turned back to the desk, half expecting the message to reappear, but the screen remained blank. Still, the device felt warm under my fingertips, like it held the afterglow of divine presence. A pulse of emotion rose in my chest, fear, hope, disbelief all tangled together. I took a shaky breath, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was drowning beneath it. The weight was still there, heavy and familiar, but something beneath it had changed shape. I remembered what he said, "Choose one thing you will not abandon." The words lingered like a soft imprint. What thing? I whispered. Which part? I walked across the room, pacing, mind racing through all the things I had given up on, dreams I had shelved, promises I had broken to myself, things I had decided weren't worth pursuing. Writing. Connection. Hope. Trust. My own voice. Maybe all of them. Maybe choosing even one felt impossible. Then, as if someone gently nudged my attention, my eyes drifted to the corner of the room, to the old notebook sitting on a shelf, spine cracked, pages half filled with words I had stopped writing years ago. I froze. The air around me shifted again, not physically, not visibly, but in that subtle inward way that felt like being guided. My throat tightened. That? I whispered, almost laughing. That's what I'm supposed to choose. But the moment I said it, I felt the truth of it settle. Writing wasn't just a hobby I had dropped. It was a part of me I had buried. A voice I had silenced. A dream I had told myself was childish. You'll hear God more clearly. You'll feel His protection surrounding you like armor. And you'll realize you are being guided away from something that was slowly diminishing your peace. God is not taking something away from you, He is removing a barrier. He is clearing a pathway. He is making room for the blessing that has been waiting for you, something real, something honest, something aligned with His plan. The love He has for you is a love that brings safety, clarity, commitment, and authenticity. And He will not allow someone who pretends, someone who hides, someone who manipulates, to have a permanent seat in your life. There will be moments in the coming days when memories will try to pull you back. When emotions will resurface, when your heart will question whether you made the right decision. But God will confirm it over and over again. Every time you start to drift backward, He will show you another sign. Every time doubt tries to confuse you, He will send another reminder. Every time loneliness whispers in your ear, He will strengthen you with truth. Because He knows the future you cannot see yet. He knows the danger you almost walked into. And He is proud of you for listening. When the truth finally arrives, you will not crumble. You will rise. You will not break. You will be reborn. This exposure will not devastate you, it will liberate you. It will give you a type of clarity that cannot be shaken and a type of strength you didn't know you had. You will look back and realize that God didn't ruin anything. He saved you. He protected your spirit from someone who didn't value it. He protected your heart from someone who couldn't hold it. He protected your destiny from someone who wasn't mature enough to walk into it with you. And after this chapter closes, God is preparing a new kind of love for you. And now God is bringing you to the place where He separates illusion from truth, where He removes the mask from every person who tried to hide their real intentions from you. You are stepping into a season where God will allow no confusion, no double-mindedness, no mixed signals, and no half-truths to remain in your life. You have prayed for clarity, and God is answering, not with gentle whispers this time, but with undeniable revelation. He is going to show you who this person really is, not to break your heart, but to protect it. Not to scare you, but to strengthen you. Not to make you walk in fear, but to help you walk in wisdom. You may feel a shift inside you right now, a quiet knowing. A sense that something has been off longer than you admitted. That is not paranoia. That is not overthinking. That is discernment. God has been trying to get your attention because He knew you were holding on to someone who has not been holding on to you with the same sincerity, the same purity, or the same intention. You wanted to see the good in them, and God honors your heart for that. But He will not allow your kindness to be used against you. He will not allow your loyalty to be manipulated. He will not allow your love to blind you to danger. The truth is, this person has been living two different versions of themselves, one they show you, and one they show when they think no one is watching. God has seen both. And while you were praying for guidance, God was observing their choices, their consistency, their actions, and their motives. He saw when they spoke softly to you but spoke differently behind closed doors. He saw when they acted committed in front of you but entertained distractions when you weren't around. He saw when they made promises they had no intention of honoring. He saw when they played with your time, your emotions, and your peace as if you would never find out, but God will never allow deception to sit comfortably in your life. He will always pull back the curtain. And the curtain is pulling back now. Soon, something will slip. A detail, a conversation. An inconsistency, something so small but so obvious that you cannot ignore it. And you will know, without question, that God allowed you to see it. Not to shame you, but to release you. Not to embarrass you, but to free you from a cycle that was never meant to last. God is preparing your mind for the truth so it won't destroy you when it arrives. He is strengthening your heart so you don't fall apart when He disconnects you from what He never intended to be permanent. And even though part of you may resist the truth, deep down you understand that God exposes what threatens your destiny. He reveals what is blocking your growth. He uncovers what is draining your spirit. This person wasn't meant to be your downfall. And God will not let them become one, what's coming next is a divine shift, an internal rearranging. You will suddenly begin to see this person for who they are, not who you hoped they would become. The illusion will break. The attachment will loosen. The emotional fog will lift. You'll start recognizing patterns you ignored. You'll hear God more clearly. You'll feel His protection surrounding you like armor. And you'll realize you are being guided away from something that was slowly diminishing your peace. God is not taking something away from you, He is removing a barrier. He is clearing a pathway. He is making room for the blessing that has been waiting for you, something real. Something honest, something aligned with His plan. The love He has for you is a love that brings safety, clarity, commitment, and authenticity. And He will not allow someone who pretends, someone who hides, someone who manipulates, to have a permanent seat in your life. There will be moments in the coming days when memories will try to pull you back, when emotions will resurface, when your heart will question whether you made the right decision. But God will confirm it over and over again. Every time you start to drift backward, He will show you another sign. Every time doubt tries to confuse you, He will send another reminder. Every time loneliness whispers in your ear, He will strengthen you with truth. Because He knows the future you cannot see yet. He knows the danger you almost walked into. And He is proud of you for listening. When the truth finally arrives, you will not crumble. You will rise. You will not break. You will be reborn. This exposure will not devastate you, it will liberate you. It will give you a type of clarity that cannot be shaken and a type of strength you didn't know you had. You will look back and realize that God didn't ruin anything. He saved you. He protected your spirit from someone who didn't value it. He protected your heart from someone who couldn't hold it. He protected your destiny from someone who wasn't mature enough to walk into it with you. And after this chapter closes, God is preparing a new kind of love for you, one that does not hide, does not deceive, does not play games, and does not pretend. A love that is honest, stable, spiritually aligned, emotionally mature, and sent by Him. A love that reflects His heart, not human manipulation. A love that stays, not because it's convenient, but because it's committed. A love that doesn't confuse you, because it was never meant to. You are stepping into clarity. You are stepping into truth. You are stepping into protection. And very soon, you'll understand why God is sending you this warning, not to hurt you, but to prepare you for the greatness ahead. The mask is falling. The truth is rising. And God is standing beside you, guiding your steps into a future free from deception, free from hidden intentions, and free from the person who was never meant to hold your heart the way you deserved. Your life is about to shift. Your spirit is about to lighten. And your heart is about to breathe in a way it hasn't in a long time. Trust what God is revealing. Trust the warning. Trust the change. Because this time, He's not just showing you the truth, He's setting you free with it.